button. Okay, come on in, guys. You're very welcome to join us. So we're deeply honored. We have Mary Fisk-Taylor, the Thursday slot, discussing all things marketing.
Yeah.
And we're delighted to be joined by Easton Reynolds. So looking forward to learning loads. I have my notebook ready to fill, and I'm sure all you guys watching will have a full notebook too. So straight over to you guys, and I'll see you on the other side.
Thanks, Ronan.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, Easton. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am awesome. You have a very professional voice. I feel very unprofessional because you're perfect, like your tone, the whole thing. I was looking too loud or too soft or too, I don't know. I'm all over the place.
People that purchase my course and go through like the videos, they tell me my voice is very soothing. And I'm like, well, is that good? Did you like fall asleep or
I guess
did you actually read it? You know?
Yeah. Was it soothing in the respect that it made you smarter, or is it soothing that it just lulled you to sleep? That's a good question. I guess it depends on the day. And these days, well, who knows, right? Guys, I put in the chat all kinds of great ways to get in touch with this guy. I have to be very honest. I only know Easton through Facebook and through his website and from reading and hearing his knowledge. Incredibly gifted businessman and photographer. You and your wife are both photographers, is that correct? Okay. Mm-hmm. Really active and amazing Facebook page, which is all about the art of six figures is the name of it. And there's links in the chat, like I said, to the Facebook page, to Easton's website, The Art of Six Figures, as well as an amazing webinar he'll be offering right after this today. So if you have time, the link, it's free, is there. And it'll kind of be a continuation of what we're going to get to dig into today, which is the 7 mistakes that most photographers make when placing Facebook ads. During this pandemic and, well, for a long time, we all know Facebook ads. But, I heard a lot of education about this during COVID, but I also heard a lot of complaining about it. So this is incredibly timely, right? Because here we are where people, are doing these and wasting a lot of time, energy, and money. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem. So can you share screen? Are you good with that now, Easton?
No, it still says it's disabled.
I'm sure Ronan will help us out. Let's figure that out. But tell us a little bit about yourself, where, what you're doing, and tell us about, what you're going to share with us today.
Yeah. So basically what we do is we focus on the marketing side. We teach what's called direct response marketing. Most of you have probably remember 5 to 7 years ago when you would post on your business Facebook page and you'd get tons of likes and tons of comments and book clients, and it was amazing. And then all of a sudden Facebook was like, nope, we're not letting that happen anymore, not unless you pay. And most photographers went, all right, well, I'm not paying, and just got mad about it, right? I took the other route and was like, let me see if this will work. And so we launched Facebook ads with no knowledge of what we were doing. And we happened to get lucky and have a huge success on our first round. And then that made me go, okay, I need to figure this out, because if I did this with like no funnels, no knowledge, no email follow-ups, no nothing, and I got this type of result, then how much more so could I get if I actually had a system in place to be able to repeat this?
Yeah.
And so that's what we started to do with our business. We were on like the Knot and, Wedding Wire and those types of things. And we realized that those services don't help you find your actual client. They help you find brides. That's it.
Okay. Right.
And when you list yourself on the Knot and somebody finds you and they reach out and say, hey, I would like more information, the Knot takes the liberty then to say, to email that same request to 5 other photographers and the email says, hey, this person reached out to this photographer and you're similar, so you may also want to reply back to them. And so this person may reach out to 5 photographers, but then they get 25 emails back from all the other photographers that they don't even know and weren't even interested in.
What? Really?
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time I spent a lot of time with the CEO on the phone with them, like sort of ripping them a new one, going, first of all, you don't give me a phone number or an email address. It's the knot.com's email address that's like, filtered and covering theirs. Yes. So there's no real way to follow up with them post the inquiry. And you're sharing my lead with other people that may or may not even be paying for it. That's mind blowing to me. Right. So we just realized we had to take control of our marketing. We had to be the ones that when we needed bookings, we could get them. And that's basically what Facebook turned into for us. And then since then, we launched our course on it about 3 or 4 years ago. We've had almost 1,500 people now join the course. And like, it's just really cool to see people owning their own marketing and controlling the entire part of it, not depending on an outside resource for it, but being able to get whatever they need, however many bookings, however many leads they need, when they need them.
Yeah.
Has been amazing. So
that's fantastic. So let me ask you 2 questions. So the first one is, I love what you said, own their own marketing, because that is so, I mean, yes, gosh, yes, louder for the people in the back, because that's so important in anything we do in our business. That's why we're supposedly, we're small business owners to own all these things. And it feels like it's so much now that it's out of control. But, because we're such small businesses, and as we've learned through all this, we're actually not even small business. We're micro or gig business or whatever you want to call us. Is this something you have to have a lot of money to do? Or is this something that works for the smallest of small?
Yeah, it's a great question. It doesn't really take a lot of money, but it takes a lot of work in the beginning. Most people's websites aren't prepared or put out there to be a marketing engine. It's look at my pictures, and no one cares about that anymore. They're going to see those pictures on social media or from clients that you've already worked with. And when they come to your website, they're there for 2 things. What is the experience of working with you going to be like, and why are you different than the thousands of other options, and how much is this going to cost me?
Yes.
And most of us still hide our pricing, which makes you lose 40% of your business.
Yes.
So when people run ads, as long as you have the true foundation that we teach in place, then we have students that spend $60 and make $5,000. We have students that, our whole thing is like spend under $100 per campaign and book a ton of people, so we do have people that have spent $2,000, but they've booked 82 sessions.
Right.
So the more you spend, the more you make. And
Sure.
I think that's just true with everything. Right. But we also have people, the large majority of people spend under $100, maybe up to like $250 per campaign, and they book up the next few months,
That's awesome. And this is not funnel marketing, or is it some of it funnel marketing?
So it's direct response marketing that utilizes funnels.
Okay.
So you're basically putting an ad out there that's asking for a direct response, right? Like, hey, this is what we're offering. Do you want this? They opt in for it. And then they go through the funnel, landing page, thank you page.
Yes.
But the point is to get their email and their phone number and their name, so that then they go into your email system, and then now they're getting automated emails that talk about the client experience and all that kind of stuff.
So it's they're opting in, but it's a lead generator. So then they go into your drip campaign or whatever you've hopefully got set up in your business.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Can you share your screen?
Let me see.
I asked for it, but I haven't heard.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Cool. And I'll ask you this while you're getting ready. And he's going to share his screen and share this presentation. But so thinking about this as you're moving through this, in this pandemic or in COVID, when that happened, did you stop your Facebook advertising because it's like, well, we can't work? Or
No.
did you up it?
Yeah. So we upped it because a couple things happened. One, most photographers especially pulled their ads if they were running them because they weren't sure. And a lot of other companies and other industries did the same thing. And so ad cost is cheaper, 7 times cheaper than I've ever seen it before.
Yes.
And everyone's sitting at home doing nothing. And just as long as your Facebook ad is a positive message, literally everyone's inundated with negativity right now, right?
Exactly.
The world is falling apart. And so
it's a dumpster fire. So anything's pretty at this point.
Yeah, right. So if you just say, hey, help us, pay $100 in a donation to the local food bank, and we'll give you a free session fee, right? So
yes.
You're bringing in every single millennial with that, because every millennial and Gen Xer is going to want to give back and to know that they're helping the community and all of that. They don't just want to selfishly get an experience for themselves most times.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. All right, I'll be quiet. You go. Well, I'm not. I'm never quiet. So you start, and I'll ask questions as you go.
Yeah, cool. All right, so this is basically after running God knows how many Facebook ad campaigns for people. We don't just work with photographers; we also work with industry vendors. So Companies like Album Epico will hire us to run all of their US marketing, and even though they're based in Italy. The Boudoir Album Company we've worked with, Photographers Edit, all these different other companies. And so we see this from multiple different perspectives, not just how to book for clients. I also use Facebook ads to sell my educational content, obviously, and then working with vendors. And so I just want to give you what I see most people doing wrong so that hopefully you can adjust to that. And then if you're free, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, which is in 50 minutes, we're going to be going live with another free training to kind of deep dive into this. I'll be sharing my screen, going into the Facebook Ads Manager and showing you what we do and how we accomplish this. But let's jump into this. So most people don't know that when you create a Facebook account, just your normal personal Facebook account, you automatically get an ads account attached to it. However, it is your personal ads account. And if you start running ads for your business from your personal ads account, you, number one, risk getting your entire ads account suspended and shut down. But you also have nowhere near the targeting ability and the features that you would have when you create a business account. So in order to do that, you have to go to business.facebook.com. And if you already have a Facebook page created, and you've already run ads, you can actually attach that existing Facebook page to this new business account, as well as import your old ads account to it and bring it over your pixel. So you don't have to recreate all your things. You just need to create this account so that you have a lot more availability and more features and more targeting for interests. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Absolutely, that does.
Cool.
So that you have to go to business.facebook.com to make sure that your ads are running from your business account, not your personal account. And
yeah,
I don't think most people know that. I think that's great.
And it's something that you actually have to go do. So like it was never done for you. So if you've never done this, you need to go do that first and foremost.
Right.
All right. Then the second thing is people don't understand or aren't aware of the fact that there's what we call the Facebook pixel. And the pixel is how Facebook's ads work. So it is the engine behind it. And what it is a little snippet of HTML code that you place onto your website and or blog and landing pages, etc. And it tracks users. So if any of you have gone to a website and a little thing pops up that says, this website uses cookies, please click yes to accept, that's because they're using a pixel. Now, Google has its own pixel. Facebook has its own pixel. All the different platforms have their own pixels. And so you may not be specifically agreeing to the cookies for just Facebook. You may also be agreeing to the cookies for the Google Pixel, etc. But what it does is essentially this. It tracks users. It allows you to retarget people, and it maximizes your ad spend. So let's say, for instance, we look at this little chart here. Obviously, everything will start with a Facebook ad. And we then, when people click on that, it sends them over to our landing page. We never send people to the homepage of our website because it's a waste of money because people get on content overwhelm.
Right.
Landing pages are very specific, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute. So we send them to the landing page, which has a opt-in form and asks for their email and phone number and their name. But let's say they get to that page and they get distracted and they don't give us their information. So they don't see our thank you page and they don't get on our email drip campaign. Then what we can do, because the pixel is on this landing page, we can say, hey, Facebook, anybody that saw this landing page but did not see this thank you page, we want you to send a new ad to.
Okay.
Right? So.
And that's because of the pixel.
Right. If the pixel's not on there, then you can't see who visited this landing page, right?
The pixel is what's collecting that data.
Correct. Yep. Okay. And it can track purchases. It can track buttons on your website. So if you have your contact form button or a submit button, you can actually track that button specifically. You can even do things like retargeting video views. So let's say, for instance, you put together a promotional video about the behind the scenes experience of working with you, and you run it as an ad and 2,000 people watch it, but 25% of those people watch 75% of the video. That's clearly showing that they're more interested in that video than the people that watched it for 2 to 3 seconds. And so you can create what's called a custom audience in Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, all the people that watch this video, at least 75% of it, we want you to show this new ad to them.
It's that hot, medium, or cold lead kind of thing. It evaluates it because of the amount of time they spent. So that's why it knows that, oh, that's a hot lead, that's a medium lead, or whatever. I always compare it to salsa.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
A mild interest, a medium interest.
Yeah. So that's the first two things. You got to get a business account. You want to make sure that you have the pixel installed so that you could be tracking everything, because running an ad and not being able to follow up with leads or interactions is a waste of money.
Right.
Right.
And do you think that's what happens to a lot of people, though, Easton, that they say, well, I'm running these ads and I spent all this money. I spent $100 and I didn't get anything. And I'm like, well, where's the data? How are you tracking it? And that's what happens. I think they expect to just run an ad and then all this business is going to fall out of the sky. It takes work.
Yeah.
Know?
I tell people all the time, before you buy my course, just be prepared to do the most amount of work on the business side of your business that you've ever done. Because
Agreed.
Most photographers don't have any type of marketing engine in place. It's just a website that shows their pictures.
Yes. You're so right. You're so right. Yes.
All right. So then the next thing kind of ties in with what you just asked. A lot of them boost posts. I call that the little blue shiny button. I call that the donate to Mark Zuckerberg button for his new t-shirt fund. Right.
Yes.
He wears those $100 t-shirts or whatever. And when you push this, that's what you're doing, because you're not using the actual ads manager. So you're not actually able to have all of the interest that you could target. And the amount of things you can target is crazy. You can target people that like chocolate chip cookies, granola bars, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, parents that have kids between the ages of this and this, college graduates, highest 10% income earners in zip codes. I mean, literally the list just keeps going on and on and on. So when you boost a post, you don't get access to all that stuff.
Right.
So don't hit that button. If you want to boost a post, you can still do so, but you would post onto your business page first, and then you would go into your ads manager, choose the engagement objective for the ad, and then it would allow you to select which post you want to boost. And then you can actually put like a call to action button and whatnot in there, so that there's actually a button there.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that's boosting a post. Don't do it.
Don't buy him a new shirt.
Right. He has enough shirts and they're all gray.
Yes.
All right. Here's the other thing. If you and I had just met, right, Mary?
Yeah.
We're on our first date.
Awesome.
And I ask you to marry me after the first 5 minutes, what would happen?
It'd probably be a hard pass for me.
Right. But
no offense.
Right. But yet we do that with our marketing all the time. We think that marketing is discounts or buy from me now.
Yes.
And there is this concept that in order for a person to gain brand trust for your business, they need to come into contact with you between 7 and 11 times. That was 10 years ago. It's now 13 to 15 times.
Yep.
Okay. Especially with the attention or lack of attention span that most people have these days. So if you put out an ad that says, get 10% off, or, book me right now and save $200. If that's the first time people are seeing you, they will not care. They will not click on it because you have not earned their trust yet.
Yes.
It's just like any other relationship. Online marketing should be very, very similar to having a conversation in person with people.
A cocktail party, right? You talk about it as a cocktail party. You don't walk into a cocktail party with a megaphone,
right?
Yelling what you do for a living. You mingle and you small talk.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing though is that all marketing is based on problem and solution. Yes. And so let's say, for instance, someone gets engaged. They now know and are problem aware that they now need to plan an entire wedding, and they need a certain amount of vendors to be able to pull that off, and one of which is a photographer. So if the first time they see you is because you've targeted newly engaged people within the last 3 months, that means they probably don't have their wedding date solidified yet. Right. So you can have an ad going to them for a wedding planning guide or the top 10 rustic wedding venues in Pennsylvania, right? Mm-hmm. So you're being a little bit more specific, and you're putting out articles like that give upfront value. And this is a principle that almost every major marketer outside of this industry teaches. Gary Vee, Russell Brunson, all of them. Gary Vee has a book called Jab, Jab, Hook.
I love it. Jab,
And
jab, right hook. Yeah.
yeah, right. And it's the same kind of concept where we're going to give upfront value first, gain that trust, and then we're going to ask for the sale. And so stop doing the ads and the marketing of just, 10% off, because it's much better to actually give people value first. They're going to trust you. And then from there, hopefully you can get them into your nurture sequence. And then hopefully you all are using chatbots these days because that's what millennials prefer, not email. I mean, combination of the two, but you're going to have a lot more success with chatbots because emails, I think it's like 24% of emails are actually opened and less than 1% of the buttons in those emails are actually clicked.
Yes.
But with chatbots, it's 97% opened, 97% clicked.
Wow.
It's like a whole new world. Yeah. So that's kind of that. Don't just try to ask people to get married on the first date. This is one of our ads for our wedding planning guide that we put out there, and people can download it. It's 77 pages. It talks about everything from should I or should I not do a first look to having a window in your getting ready room to, hey, don't do a receiving line at your wedding ceremony and you'll save 45 minutes of your wedding day, right? All the things, because we're the professionals. We're the ones that do it every day, and they are not. They're probably getting married for the first time, possibly second, but they don't know these things. And so if we can be the thought leader for them and we can show them our expertise goes beyond taking pictures, then they're going to feel a lot safer hiring us for their wedding.
Oh, 100%. I love that. Establish yourself as the expert. Absolutely. That's fantastic. And some people say this is like, it's almost like an 80-20 rule with social media or any digital type of marketing, but 80% just really great, valuable content, almost like what you're talking about, that transitional call to action type of piece. And then really only asking 20% of the time. Is that something that you've heard or think or agree with, or?
Yeah. I mean, the 80-20 rule is, a pretty good standard.
Yeah.
It's, pretty much everything. I mean, even when it comes to running ads, 80% of the people won't be interested because they need you to save them time or money or like feel the value. Whereas the other 20% will click right away.
Okay. Yeah. I just was wondering, I'm a story brand girl and I love Gary and Russell Brunson. I've read all these books. So I get all that. But to agitate the problem that you can fix and establish yourself as the expert is what you're saying here, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm liking this. This is good stuff.
All right. Then the other thing is that most photographers run one ad or they boost one post and it doesn't go well. And they go, Facebook doesn't work. And I'm like, all right, well then that's a lot more for the rest of us because clearly it works. You're looking at an ad right there that booked over 15 weddings, that was seen by, or it clicked on 18,000 times.
Holy moly.
78 shares. And what is it? It's not a discount. It's not anything. It's a beautiful story, right? And so going back to story brand, no one cares that you're a wedding photographer. No one cares that you take great pictures. So you can put like the most epic picture that you've ever taken and run an ad with it and say, book me, and you'll never book people compared to this. This is someone else's story. This is, look at this beautiful moment that these two had. It was hard for us to not cry, right? And then you go to the blog, over to the website, and you can contact them and whatnot. And because the story is not about this business saying, hey, we're amazing, check out these photos we did. And instead it's Danielle and Ray's first look was one of my favorite first looks ever. Seriously, they wrote notes to each other and read them before turning around. So he's just telling the story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting emotional just looking at the pictures because I can feel it.
Right.
Now, so this is, do you recommend, well, I think I just answered my question, but I'll say it anyway because I'm a dummy. But I was going to say, would a video testimonial work well in this situation? Or because we're photographers, obviously the pictures make more sense. But would a video testimonial work in that capacity as well?
Oh, yeah. Video testimonials are video in general. When you use a video, people are 65% more inclined to click and 82% more inclined to convert.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's beautiful. What a great, and I love what you're saying. So just because this kind of falls into, I'm a big fan of like that, the elements of value pyramid and self-actualization, or, getting to that transcendence. It's there. What's happening is a bride and or groom or couple, they're seeing this and they're imagining that moment for themselves. Right.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
And it's taking them out of their logical mindset
Yes.
of money and purchases, and it's making them make an emotional decision.
Right, which is what we really rely on in our business for sure.
Yeah. All right. So don't just run one ad. This is what people's mistake are. So when it comes to weddings, just because we have this example up here, when you go into Facebook and you try to run an ad, you can target people that are engaged, first of all, right? So as soon as they set their status on Facebook to engaged, they become targetable with your ad. But then there's other things as well, like people interested in wedding dresses or engagement rings or wedding photography, or Pier 1 Imports when that was around because it was a higher end store, right? Or if they were a college graduate or not. But it's in your best interest not to run one ad with using all of those at one time. It's better to make 10 different ads at a $5 a day budget instead of one ad at a $100 a day budget when you're first starting out, because you don't know which one of those interests is actually going to convert for you. Right. So if you do one ad with all of them in one smorgasbord of an ad, you won't know which one of those interests actually worked. But if you do it all individually, you'll clearly see that these three failed. No one cared. These two did okay, and these two are your winners. Then what you do is you take the two different interests from those two ads and combine them together, and that becomes your power ad.
Yes. Wait. Take the interests from the, can you say it again? I'm sorry. I'm slow.
You take the two interests from the two ads that were doing the best, and then you combine those two interests into another ad, and that becomes your power ad because you know those two interests work.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense.
Cool.
Love it.
So that's that. Don't just run one ad. And guys, when you run ads and you first start running ads, you will fail over and over and over because it is a refining process, especially if you have no direction. Obviously, our course will help you with that and tells you where to start and all that kind of stuff. But if you're doing it on your own, even in our course, we tell people to do this. Like, we give you a starting point of interest in our course, and then you have to make it your own because you're in your own geographic location. You have your own, morals and ethics and the way that you run your business and the clients that you want to attract and all that kind of stuff. And so you have to take that into account when you're running ads. Make sure that you don't give up after running the first ad because you're going to sell yourself short.
Oh, great. Do you recommend a certain amount of time before you try to evaluate? Like we do ours, I give it 72 hours.
Yeah. So Facebook has a learning period when you launch an ad. That's 72 hours or if it's a conversion ad, it's 50 conversions. So It won't fully tell you what's really happening until you let that period go. So like day one, it may be like $5 a click and you're like, oh no, but let it go over the next 2 days because it'll probably come back down to like a more normal amount. If it doesn't, then you got to kill it. But if it does, then you're going to be happy that you didn't kill it,
Thank you. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm doing something right. That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah. All right. Next thing, sending people to your website. When you send people to your website, there is too much information on the site and they get overwhelmed. They clicked because they saw your ad that was talking about one thing. And then when they go to your website, there's many things, especially you people that are still putting all the niches that you serve on your website and not niching down. It's fine to have multiple niches, but you want to make those subdomains and have links to them, but make the main revenue source be your homepage and only that. So when it comes to where people are sent, this is an example of a landing page. So you see there's no about us, there's no portfolio section, there's nothing else. It's just one button that says click here to claim your free engagement session, right? At the top, it's receive a free engagement session when you book before December 15th. This is a secondary ad that would be sent to people. The first ad would be nurturing and sort of awakening them to the fact that they need a photographer, giving them some type of value. And then this is a follow-up ad for retargeting where it's like, hey, book us now before the 15th. That's using urgency. And then they can click that button to be able to book with us. But this is the whole landing page for the most part, right? There's only one button on it, and we're only talking about one thing. It keeps people focused because typically when people go to a website, they stay for 1 second, and 75% of the time they do not scroll down.
Yes. Okay. So this is a landing page. So you're getting them off of social media onto your landing page. But the key here is that it's clear. They're conserving calories. There's no energy or effort. They don't have to go anywhere. It's clearly what they're interested in. They don't have to look at babies or families or headshots or anything. They're right in on what you do. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. Also, you would want to have the pixel installed on this page so that you could retarget people that didn't follow through. That's a super important point as well. All right, and then this is where the real power comes from. So a custom audience, what is that? Well, in the screenshot that you see here, we can create a custom audience from people that visit our website, a customer list, a video interaction, lead forms filled out, Facebook page interaction, interactions from people that liked our post on our page. There's a million different things, even your Instagram account. So what does that mean? Well, let's say, for instance, in the past couple of years, I've had 100 or 200 wedding clients or portrait clients or whatever it may be. I can create an Excel spreadsheet of those contacts and their names and their emails and their phone numbers. And I can upload that customer list to Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, these are all my ideal clients that I've worked with in the past. Go find me more.
Oh.
So then Facebook is going to go and find and match where they work, where they live, where they play, where their income is coming from, where they shop. And it's going to go and find similar people to the people that you've already worked with. That right there in and of itself is the number one reason why you should all be using Facebook ads because that makes it so easy. Then you can also track people that visit all different pages of your website, your landing pages, all that. Video interactions we talked about, right? Like if people watch 75% of the video or more. And then people that visit your Facebook page, like and comment on your ads, all that kind of stuff. So this is really where your first ad is going to pixel them. Your second ad is going to reinforce the point, and typically your third ad is going to get the sale.
Right.
That makes sense.
That does make sense. So this is okay. I'm sorry. You find this obviously in your business Facebook manager, ad manager.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And uploading your customer list, does that just mean you find your customers on Facebook and you're uploading from there? Is that what you're talking about?
No. You would have you would have your CRM, right? That you use, and you have all
your emails of your past clients.
Yeah, your emails of your past clients in, whatever you use, Pixify or Sprout or whatever. And then you just export all of your past clients into an Excel spreadsheet and then upload that Excel spreadsheet to this little button here, customer list.
Of course. Wow. I don't know. I mean, and I consider myself to be fairly savvy, not nearly as savvy as you are, but I've never heard this. Like this is worth your entire, this is so cool. I don't know why. I'm speechless right now. I'm never speechless because I don't know why or how I never heard this. And I've studied with a lot of the, people out there doing this, but I don't know how I missed this part. I tend to gloss over at some point too, because this stuff is so hard. Like you nailed it when you said your course. Like you better be ready to work, I'm sure, if you're going to go through this. I spent a year trying to just figure it all out, and I still know a fraction.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can use as much or as little of Facebook's business, tools as you want. But the people that, like, if you ever pay for an ad, if you pay for an ad and you get people to click, you better be retargeting them because you just wasted all that money if they're not going to convert.
Yeah. Do you ever take your lead gen and like actually call or use something else to reach out to them? Like whether you're using like a ringless voicemail or, whatever. I mean, do you ever do that with it as well? Yeah.
We're big phone call people. So
we are too.
We always want to get the phone number. And a lot of times, like say we were to do like a big giveaway, we're asking for the phone number and then we're going to email people, hey, you're a finalist, but you need to schedule a call with us in order to, figure out if you've won. Mm-hmm. So we get on the phone with almost every lead that we have as soon as we can.
I agree. And then honestly, because we started that when it was a godsend for us when everything kind of hit, because we had a lot of sessions that we hadn't sold to yet, so we could do online selling. But more than that, we still had an amazing list that when we even started thinking about reopening, we were on the phone doing some virtual consultations and getting them scheduled, anticipating reopening and things like that. So, so the amount of energy, it's really, I think with this, and maybe you'll agree, but I definitely reached out and got counsel and got help with this because it's a very overwhelming and constantly changing scene. I mean, this is a very fluid marketing way to market, but it's incredibly successful. but you know, the investment into it is so, in my opinion, 100 times. Like we were a very successful studio before we started this type of marketing, but incorporating this into our business, I was shocked at I was shocked at it, you know? So I have people sometimes tell me when I talk about this, and I don't teach this type of marketing because I'm barely an amateur at it, but, so that's why you have to hire other professionals. But, some people say that, you know, because they're higher end, or maybe because they're priced not your average, that this type of marketing doesn't work. This only works for more commodities or cheaper products. Could you speak to that, like just generally?
Yeah, I would say that the reverse is true. The cheap people are not actually going to book and pay you. They're just not. But the higher end people are going to do that. And most of the people that our members get are high end. So for instance, in our Facebook group, which I think there's a link to for you guys, if you were to join that, there's over almost 60 video interview testimonials from my clients. And one of them is Karina, who booked like 82 sessions or something like that. Now, it's $500 just for her session fee, and she averages between $3,500 and $5,000 on the back end, right? So it's get them in the door for the lower price, but not on a bait and switch, right? It has to be, this is how much your session's going to be. Most of our clients are going to spend this much on the back end. So they have to know that up front, or else you won't get the sale. Right. And then you have to tweak your interests. That's what most people get wrong. The interest is what gets you the client that is your actual avatar. So if you need higher end clients and you're more of a luxury brand, then why would you not target people that live a luxury lifestyle? It's an actual targetable thing on Facebook, and luxury travel and luxury everything, right? So like people that want a Chanel bag, right? You got to just think with your own brain and be like, what also would they be purchasing that would tell me they have enough money to then be able to afford what we're offering?
Yeah. And do you think it's helpful to identify those luxury? So if you're talking about your ideal client, your avatar, if you're thinking about that, something that I found a lot of success with, at least in my little neck of the woods here, is that I not only I know what my avatar looks like, you know, so a lot of times I will target, charitable organizations that are local, because if they're in tune, because my clients tend to be very philanthropic. That's just a common theme I've seen. But more than that, little local higher end or luxury brands, and not something that it's not a Chanel bag, but in my area, everybody who shops at XYZ boutique definitely needs to be my client, or this pediatric firm. Do you get that, you know, to keep it more local, or is that just like narrowing the funnel too much? Does that make sense?
Oftentimes those businesses aren't targetable. Okay. So the business Facebook page of the company that you're trying to like piggyback off of has to have enough followers and interaction and all of that to even become targetable. So like, for instance, if you were to try to go in and target my audience, like the people that like the Art of Six Figures, it wouldn't be available to you. But you could target people that like WPPI, Creative Live, Sue Bryce, right? Yes. Because they're much bigger audiences.
Canon, Sony, that type of thing. Okay, right. I see what you're saying. All right, that actually makes sense. It's just something I thought about. I was like, should I be looking at that? But now that actually makes sense now that I think about it. Well, awesome. Well, that was good. I mean, golly, that was a ton of information in a very short amount of time. And the good news is, if you guys want more, you can tune in right after this. You said it's at 2:00 Eastern, right? 2:00 Eastern for kind of another like second edition or like a deeper dive into all this.
Yeah, we're going to actually be sharing my screen, showing you the Audience Insights tab inside of Facebook, so that you can actually put your client avatar into Facebook, and then Facebook will be like, here's all this info about them. And then you're like, sweet, I want to launch that ad now. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. Well, I wish I could log in. Unfortunately, I booked a 2:00 session myself.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I really need to see that, but we'll bring Ronan back in, and I'm sure he'll help us wrap up. I want to make sure I get you out of here on time so you can get with your next audience.
Awesome.
And Ronan, I know, see, Ronan and Ronan's son also has Business Success Academy, and they do have a very similar program over there. So I know this is right up your alley. Everything he was saying, I know you were like,
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, the more photographers who realize that you can't have a business unless you take control of your own marketing, the better.
Yeah.
So I love everything that you're preaching to the converted here, Easton. Absolutely love it.
Love it.
We've built our 3XN business from little old Ireland using online marketing. So absolutely align with everything you say.
Awesome.
The other thing that, you know, really important to understand, guys, is, you know, don't be directing traffic to your website. You know, you got to use landing pages. So Easton has that absolutely covered off. And the secret sauce is absolutely those lookalike audiences. You know, take those past clients and you can put them into Facebook and say, go find me more of these.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's absolutely amazing, and it's something that every photographer everywhere in the world needs to hear, and you need to adopt these practices into your business. It's the only way that you can fill your studio all year round and take away those ups and downs in your business, because you can have your funnels, you can turn them on and off as you need to get the leads generated, get on the phone and book them in.
Yep.
Thank you so much. So join Easton's webinar coming up in exactly 20 minutes, right?
20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, all the information is in the chat, guys, so please check it out. If not, it's The Art of Six Figures. Look it up on Facebook. It's easy to find. Easton, it was an absolute pleasure to chat with you today. I'm going to have to go back and watch the recording because I couldn't take notes, and there were some things I really needed to hear. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you on all levels today. Thanks for everything you're doing, and thanks for helping us make this industry just better.
Yes.
All kinds of ways. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
All right, y'all take care.
All right,
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Easton. Thank you, Mary. Take care, everybody. Have a good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending where you are in the world. Bye for now.
Bye, Ronan.